Howdy, y'all. Looks like we are playing Dredd versus Zombies. If you aren't really familiar with the character's gone through a couple iterations throughout the years. I remember him mostly as Judge Dredd. The people might be even more familiar with the character from the movie Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone, Rob Schneider, and or maybe you are unfamiliar with this character completely. Uh, Evidently, this is probably a big promotion for the latest Dredd movie that came out. I wish I knew the main character's name. If anything, I know him mostly from the Star Trek films as the Bones character. I know him from Lord of the Rings. He also was in the Doom film as the lead character, I would assume, besides The Rock, because The Rock is always the lead character in seemingly every one of his films. But this is not about The Rock. But he's also done several other films. I'm sure I'm leaving probably a ton out, but those are the ones that pop into my mind right now. If I haven't mentioned it on another video or something like that, if anyone's seen my Titanic gameplay, I kept saying a lot just because of how tired I was, and I just want to apologize to anybody who did see that video. Maybe somebody found it funny. I don't know. I hope people could understand. I tend to tape these videos really late at night, so I appreciate any kind of support anybody's willing to give me. If anything, between the Dredd and Judge Dredd movies, I actually like them both. There's not one movie, either one of those movies, that I thought, oh man, this movie's awful. If anything, I think Judge Dredd, the Stallone film, I think Rob Schneider really saves that film. It really makes it viewable because of his comic relief versus Stallone's stoned face the entire film. Even though every once in a while Stallone does tend to crack a joke every once in a while. But Rob Schneider has so many great one-liners that are just completely, that are so memorable, and I don't think Rob Schneider ever gets the credit he really deserves, where people they probably shit on all of his career, but there's a lot of great movies that he does that people might not have seen, like Judge Dredd. I think my favorite, because I love Jean-Claude Van Damme, my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie is actually my favorite Rob Schneider film as well. And that's called Knockoff. Just the chemistry that, you really feel that these people had a life together and really are best friends, even though they look completely polar opposites. But anything, if I had to differentiate the two, I think the new Dredd film does have a lot more things to offer as far as visuals. Is more action packed. There might be some special effects differences between the movies. that you might like in the original. This this newer Dredd movie might seem a little bit low budget, but hey, I think it's great. I think what they did in this new film stays, I think, authentic to the comic book, because you never see Dredd's face, and that's what I've been told has stayed very close to the comics. I honestly wish I could have been able to pick up and read some Dredd comic books before doing this gameplay, but sadly, it's really hard to find a Dredd book, whether it be paperback or just regular. Like, I could have probably went online and bought like the first volume or two, and then could have done a analysis on how the movie is like the comics, or the comics are like this game, and so on and so forth. But instead of me going on and on, I'm just gonna get into the game to see how the gameplay is. Oh wow, there's actually a story. I just thought this was just gonna be like a shoot 'em up game. Well, I'm actually surprised there's a story involved. Not that there's anything bad with not having, not having, or having a story when I wasn't expecting it. Select weapon. Backup magazine. Body armor. You go to know that I usually do health over anything else. No, I don't want to do this. Man, you gotta love, there are no movies available. Please.
This is Justice Department property, and I'm taking it back.
Oh man, you don't get the... I thought we were gonna get it right away. We were gonna get a I am the law. That's one... That's the one thing I liked about, one line Rob Schneider gave us in the movie is just like... It's like, oh, I am the law. when they're on the plane going for prison transport. So far, I'm very pleasantly surprised about this game, right away, off the cuff. just because this is more than what I was expecting. This has a very almost, if anyone remembered Marvel Alliance, the very first one, this kind of feels like that. Nope.
On my way.
Still, we're not... I don't know, maybe people who are more familiar with the comic books probably will probably tell me, hey, like, all these lines that he is saying are his catchphrases. And I apologize for my...
I've got a bad feeling about this.
I apologize for my ignorance, but... Badges. Collect badges to fill your law meter. Alright. To be brutally honest, I actually don't like that they shortened Judge Dredd to just be Dredd. I understand we live in a world now where everything has to be shorter. And I understand that. It's just, I think when you look at the two words Judge Dredd, I think that without having to explain what it is, with those two words, you can pretty much understand. You can understand what the story is telling you. But I understand maybe, well, Judge Dredd has a very independent following, and if you don't know who Judge Dredd is by now, then maybe you shouldn't be interested in the comics and so on and so forth. It's like I can get that for the people who followed the books day one, and I understand. Like I said, I understand we live in a world now where everything has to be shorter, and it's like, it's lucky that it's not abbreviated to just JD or just D. Now and then we wouldn't be able to understand the story at all. Just be like, what's JD? And someone would have to take 2 hours to explain everything because it's not something easy to digest. I know after the first time I saw the first Stallone movie, I was like, well, it's like this is a very interesting story, but it's just a lot to process in a short amount of time. If they would have done... I kind of wish they would have done a cartoon series. Maybe more than likely they did, and if anybody knows that they actually did that, there's probably so much material in the ether somewhere that they did do, but I'm just not aware of. Like most people could be aware of, besides the real Ghostbusters cartoon, they did the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon, which a lot of people might not be aware of. They did that. I actually own a copy that I found of the series of Extreme Ghostbusters, so I get to watch that whenever I like, and I get to watch those again because I remember before I go to school, I would go and I would watch that right before I went to school. That and the cartoon Jumanji, and I know a lot of people are thinking it's like, oh well, does that mean you're gonna go see the Rock movie, the Rock Jumanji? Because you saw the Jumanji cartoon and like that wasn't all that great and blah blah blah, and it's like yeah, but it was something to see in the morning. What I say after watching that cartoon, was I like a Jumanji fan? No, but it was just like it was something that came after a cartoon that I wanted to watch. So ideally, the Robin Williams movie, the Jumanji one, I'm sure that's a classic to a lot of people. I thought it was a very smart concept for the time that people were still playing board games, or maybe got even back into playing board games. But I don't know, to me, like, I don't know, I feel the new film is probably just going to feel like the new Ghostbusters film was. Like, it has some good actors in it, but it's like, is the writing all that great? Will it feel like a lot of the people's lines are going to be improvised instead of like what's on the page? Because who knows, maybe a script isn't there. Maybe, I don't know, I don't want to, because there's some people that might have seen the movie, might have loved it. There might be some people that maybe in their eyes it could be the funniest or best movie of this year, besides maybe Black Panther, of course, or whatever can come out the gate next. Whoops. But anyways, changing the subject. Oh, I have no ammo. Just because I don't want to go on and on about Jumanji. But again, I probably like... You're probably already thinking that, well, he doesn't like Jumanji just because The Rock's in it. It's like, you know what? I was a wrestling fan. I loved The Rock. There's like, why would I hate The Rock? There have been a few movies that I've enjoyed The Rock in. None really come to mind, but I can't, like, I would guess I would say Moana was a decent film, even though it didn't actually have The Rock actually in it. But I thought Moana, a recent film that came out that had him in it, that's probably my best example of something I enjoyed with him in it that came out recently. But anyways, I kind of hope that it may never happen just because of... Well, we could have probably said that about The Punisher. I really hope that they do actually do something with this character. And I hope that eventually, like, I would say he would be better off as a cartoon, to be honest. Like a cartoon that would be, I would say like an adult cartoon. I want to say, like, I saw a little bit of Adventure Bros, and I think, like, if you could do something like that, when you would do like a Judge Dredd like cartoon where it's, how could I say this the right way? It kind of jokes at itself by how serious it is. Like, I would like for it'd be like Judge Dredd, and he would have like 2 sidekicks, but his sidekicks would just be like really awful, like just really bad at their jobs, and they're just like constantly needing Judge's help because they make mistakes, and they would be like the comic relief to like Judge being so serious. Or maybe you can even do like Judge Dredd, like I've seen maybe like The Tick in the past, where he's serious to a fault, where he doesn't know he's doing something wrong, or oh man, they killed me. Well, I guess we're gonna get killed at some point.
On my way.
But hey, mention in the comments below if you feel the same way about my idea for Judge Dredd, or maybe jot down some ideas of your own. I would love to get people's thoughts on a Judge Dredd live action film or cartoon, animated, whatever. But ideally, I would just like to get something out there. Because I think eventually, like, I think it would even be cool if they...
See you in Recyc.
Like, I think they should do... excuse me. If they can't do
Next time, stay dead.
physical, like, live action stuff, I just think that they should do animated films. Like, if someone's saying it's like, well... Because I would rather... Because there is so many animated films that are more adult, or do market to that, and I feel that if they would market it correctly, like, you know how much you could make as far as more money off a film instead of having to pay, like, say for example, having to pay a Robert Downey Jr. or a Sylvester Stallone or stuff like that, when you can get a person that sounds just like them. And maybe even save money in the course of doing that whole production. And there's even some actors that are still alive that can't do the physical aspects anymore. Like Harrison Ford, for example. I'm sure there's only so many more action films that they're trying to make him do that he just can't do anymore just because of his age. But I'm sure he will, because he's still trying to reboot every series he's ever done, and he's gone on record actually mentioning that in a Comic-Con, that someone asked him, it's like, are you trying to reboot every series you've ever done? He's like, you bet your ass I am. It's like, well, yeah, he's not stupid. It's like, you know how many... Like, I think Star Wars is a perfect example. You know how many, like, Han Solo action figures they've probably done in the last however many decades that he's done that character? Like, I'm sure it's just like, hey, well, I didn't get any action figures or bobbleheads in this movie, but you better bet your ass in the sequel I'm gonna get like two action figures, 2 bobbleheads, and all that jazz. If anything, eventually maybe I'll show, because I actually do have excuse me, I actually do have a bobblehead collection, because I love collecting movie bobbleheads. So maybe one day I'll show everybody all those, and I'll show you how much of a collector I've been over the years. But I hope you guys are enjoying the Judge Dredd game so far. Maybe you'll be interested in the character, and maybe you want to research the character, or even you'll see this game and you'll see that it looks similar to the game that you're familiar with, and maybe you'll want to purchase the game yourself. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed each of the Dredd movies that did come out. Jeez. And I would recommend those to everybody. I guess I probably could have been reviewing these movies or those movies to you, and I should have watched both of them and then like brought up each detail of the films and stuff like that while I was playing to have more things to talk about, but I didn't really think about it. If anything, that could have been one thing I could have done to when. Oh god, man. But if anything, this visual attire does look more like the Judge Dredd Stallone film, which I think is the more authentic look to the character. I think that's probably why they went for. The funny thing was they are selling the sequel, or I guess you could say the remake of the Dredd story, but they're going with the classic costume. I think that's just to I think maybe that was probably just because this was a game that probably came out as the new movie was coming. So I think they were probably just concerned with if we were going to give people a new look from the new game, will people look at it and just be like, oh yeah, that's the Dredd I know, or maybe they just wanted to give people the traditional Dredd that they're used to or have followed the comics. Or maybe they even did a survey asking people, I don't know. We got a little bit closer, peeps. If anything, I'm just going to try to make this as long as possible. I hope that you guys are enjoying this so far. If you are new to any of the videos that I've done, just to give you a heads up, most of the stuff that I do is mostly tribute things. Most of the time they could probably be just like one-off projects that I've done. But who knows, maybe one day I will go back to them. I think I've been doing a series called Saints Row 4, if people aren't familiar with my past videos, and
On my way.
that is one that I kind of just quickly rammed through. Not to just get videos out, but like that was a series that I probably should have went and should have waited and watched to see if people liked a certain thing more or wanted me to do more of a certain character.
On my way.
But maybe maybe once I finally do finish the game, I might go back through and do like a all-star edition maybe.
I need medical assistance.
Which that's really all in my head right now, seeing how far the channel will progress and everything like that. Like I said, right now I'm doing probably a lot of one-off projects or very short-lived projects. That's mainly because I'm just trying to test out popularity of things, or really just to see like what I should really be doing with the channel.
I need medical assistance
on a consistent basis. Because I don't really think I found one game yet that I've wanted to repeatedly play, and that everyone would want to see me play on top of that.
On my way.
Not saying that the large amount of views I have been getting on certain videos mean nothing to me. They actually mean everything. It's just the fact that I am still trying to figure out what projects mean the most to me, and
on my way.
Projects mean to others as well. It'd be great to do a playthrough and get actual feedback. It would be great to get people who love a series so much that they would want to stay on my channel to see more of it. Or I know this all seems just kind of like, well, yeah, if I keep getting views on, like, really it's just kind of like if people hate me talking about this, hey, say something about it. And I'll never mention this kind of stuff again. If people love when I talk about the origins of a character, man, I'm really going down in this level. Like, let me know that. It's like, if anything, like, feedback is probably the biggest thing. And I don't know, I've done projects that, yes, they are fun. They were really fun and cool to do. And I'm not saying it's like, well, I'm just jumping from project to project because certain things aren't fun. Like, I'm just saying, like, I haven't found, I don't think I found, like, my thing yet. I haven't found, like, I really, like, there are certain games where I looked at and I was just, in awe that I could cover it on this channel. And like those, I hope in the future that people will remember me most for is doing those projects that I loved and that I legitimately always like voiced my opinion, whether I hated something or I liked something or I just thought something was okay, that people will see that opinion and don't think that I'm trying to, oh, he's trying to say something to get views, he's trying to say something to get the...
On my way.
I laugh at the people who, like, why wouldn't I be genuine? Why wouldn't I be a genuine person? If anything I would do stuff to, like, as a joke. God, I am just getting slaughtered. If anything, we might have to wrap this up soon. Just because it's going to 40 minutes. And just because this level is just freaking hard. But, if anything, I guess closing statements, I guess. I would say, hey, please, if you love the visuals of this character, or if you love the original films, if you loved, like, I would really strongly suggest researching the character. I would suggest, if you haven't seen the movies, go watch them. They're fun. If anything, the latest Dredd movie is a little bit more on the adult side. It has a more adult content, so be leery about that if you're watching with kids or something like that. But by all means, I would highly recommend watching the films. You can, or even reading the comic books, do with what you will. But if anything, if you guys stayed with me throughout the whole length of this gameplay, please drop a like, leave a comment, and if you're brand new to the channel that I've been doing, please subscribe and you can get more tribute content. You could get more. I hope to do movie reviews soon. I hope to do a series maybe called 5 Films You've Never Heard of, or something along those lines. I'm not sure yet. I plan on maybe playing Skyrim in the future, the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. For PlayStation 4, I plan on playing that, hopefully in the future. And maybe Lego Dimensions. I'm not sure. These are just kind of the first things that come to my mind, but they might be a week away, maybe more. I have so many things that I want to do, and there's so many things that I aren't able to do. So it all depends on that. Anyways, I'm going to try and cut myself off here. So if anything, good luck and good night.